Okay. I'm back for the thought for the day. On the radio at night, listening to Whitey Crossbend Wildman. Funny stuff. But while I was on there, something recurred to me that I've said over the years, and it's why I love the Citizens Band radio. Now, I'm a general class amateur, and have all the privileges that go with that. But I keep gravitating back to Sesame Street. And it's entertaining, but I have a theory, not a theory, it's not really the word I'm looking for, but I have a mental formulation of why the CB, I think, has become so important to me and other people that are on it. I call it my back fence. And to give you a little bit of idea, back in the teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, people used to, very few folks had air conditioning, particularly during the summer months. You know, it'd be hot. They'd go out on their porches in the evenings, you know, and discuss. Or they'd go out in the backyard and have a little dinner on the green. And they'd discuss the day's events with their neighbors. They knew who their neighbors were. Neighborhoods were neighborhoods. There was a certain element of community to the neighborhoods. Everybody knew who everybody was. And they discussed the day's events, who was sick, what, Joe Blow down the road's going to buy him a new car. And they did this over their back fence. Well, it seemed like a good way to do things. Kept everybody in touch. Television came along. The box. Within just a few years, most folks either had one or their neighbor had one, and everybody, when the sun went down after they got finished with supper, and sometimes they'd do it watching TV, they'd eat supper on TV trays watching TV, but they would retire into the house, close the doors and windows, and watch the box all night. And within a couple of generations, a couple of decades, in the average neighborhood, most folks had no idea, other than maybe the folks that were immediately adjacent to their house, they knew who anybody was. The back fence had ceased to become a place of communication. Well, the law, I think in 1956, I believe that's the year that Citizens Band Radio was formulated, was okayed by the government. Took a while for it to get going, actually into the 70s. I think 71, 2, 3, that was where the real explosion came. But what the CB radio did was, instead of like in the amateur world, having to pass a test, pass the code, if you wanted to get on the radio and talk to somebody, if you had $40, hey, you buy a radio. A lot of times you'd go into any drugstore or place and they'd have this whirly gig, and there would be a whole station on there. It'd be on a long shrink wrap piece of cardboard. There'd be a radio there. There'd be a portable antenna. Everything you needed, except maybe a power supply. And you go home and hook it up to a battery. Anyway, yeah, antennas really weren't that much money. And as, like I say, as into the 70s, as this became, more common, people got on, and all of a sudden they realized the whole world was out there. All they had to do was reach out and turn that switch. And in the nature of things, after the pandemonium, which there was a lot of that, people settled back and started talking to each other again. Wasn't that a revelation? Those of you that are on the band with myself and the rest of the folks, we all know each other. We essentially know what we do, when we do it, how our days go, who's sick, who's not. It's our back fence. And I think that the CB radio is one of the greatest things that ever came along for the United States, because it brought back a sense of community. Now, it brought back a lot of cussing, a lot of foolishness, a lot of craziness. But we talk on a channel down here in the Whitney area, Channel 14. And we have our ration of craziness and foolishness and wild. Some of them get on there drunk about 3 nights a week, and trash out the channel. But Channel 14 is our back fence. We, in the evening, we go in and we sit at our radios and we turn them on, and our friends that we communicate are there. So I recommend it to anybody particularly that's might be a recluse, that's their health is bad and they stay in the house and they can't get out. The CB radio can be very therapeutic. Of course, it can be a pain in the neck, but that is why the CB radio is my back fence. Let me see here.